And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that, ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Navia.
To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons. Regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword. He must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh.
Not a lot of people here, huh?
Well, given the time of day and the whole situation in Poisson, Paimon doesn't think there'd be a ton of people here visiting graves.
Right. That's how things are now. The living are so exhausted that they've no strength to spare any words for the dead.
Navia? Navia, what's wrong?
Sorry. I just... Malus and Silver, they won't ever come back here again. What should I do, Papa?
Huh? What happened to them?
Everyone agreed on the rescue plan, but still, I was the one who initiated it. They were helping evacuate the residents, but they couldn't leave in time. And they were caught in the seawater.
What should we do?
I've known them for so long. And I know they weren't afraid. But I could at least hold a funeral for my father. And I know where he rests. But as for Malus and Silver, they're just gone. I just can't. I always told them that they didn't have to protect me. To think that they'd keep doing so even after death. I learned then that there's always a cost to making a mistake. The more you care about those around you, the more you should care about doing the right thing to the best of your abilities. Because if you do falter, there'll inevitably come a time when you'll have to face the consequences. And when that time comes, those most precious to you really will throw themselves in front of you and pay the price for your mistakes. Sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. I wasn't planning to talk about sad things tonight. I used to think that I'd never doubt myself. But you could say I've discovered that I'm not as strong as I thought I was. Coulter mentioned my parents, as well as Malus and Silver. It's all thanks to them that I've made it this far in life. Do you think they ever regretted the choices they made? Has my existence made this world a better place?
Don't think like that, Navia. You've already done more than enough.
This is Papa, Mother, and me.
We designed the look for Miss Clementine based on old camera records, as well as personal recollections from members of the Spina.
Wow! This is the statue you mentioned before?
It is indeed. To be honest, we decided on the design a long time ago, and gave the sculptor permission to begin working. We only asked Boss to decide on a design so she wouldn't realize we had already started.
How could we only have statues of Mr. Callus and Mrs. Clementine?
Even though Boss is still young, we've all seen the work she's put in regarding the whole synth business and the rebuilding of Poisson.
We wanted to commemorate her contributions with a statue as well.
I don't know what Spina di Rosula was like in the past, but I know it's a great organization now.
With Navia around, we're not worried about this place's future.
We are gathered here today to tell our boss that we support you and believe in you wholeheartedly. I believe everyone is here for you, not the glory days.
That's what we believe as well.
Thank you so much, everyone. Then I'll be brave and just accept everyone's support for what it is. This really is quite the surprise. I never thought that I'd have the chance to stand next to my mother. Not even in my wildest dreams. I'm sorry for letting you see me in a mess like this. I don't usually cry, really.